Hello and a very warm welcome back to Fox's Weight Watcher Kitchen. I'm Johnny Fox. Now remember guys, in the last video showed you how I made these lovely tortilla chips, and on the side at the afterwards I made myself a little bit of hummus to do that. What I'm going to do for you guys today is show you how I make my hummus dips. I'm going to do it in two different stages because there's two recipes I want you guys to do. But firstly, let's look at the ingredients that a normal hummus would have, and then I'll show you how I change it. Normally you would get yourself a nice load of chickpeas. You usually have sesame to give it that bit of acidity in there as well. They use something called tahini, which is basically sesame seeds slightly roasted, and then they put them through a blender until they turn into a liquid form and create that lovely oil flavor. Also, they put in some olive oil, a little bit of salt to taste, and they will put some garlic in there as well. Now, the way that I do mine is a little bit different. If you haven't got things like a pressure cooker, you can see I use all mine in a pressure cooker. I made a batch up again this morning. As you know, I like my lentils, I like my chickpeas, so I'm always pressure cooking some up. Time-wise, if you have got a pressure cooker, raw, I buy mine by the bag. See these big bags? Local Asian shop where I buy mine from, I get a bag of those. You can soak them overnight if you want to do it that way in the pressure cooker. They will absorb a lot of moisture and go basically 4 times the size of normal. The way I do, I always cheat. Sometimes I need it, sometimes I don't. So what I do, I go straight into the pressure cooker. I put 2 cups worth of those in, fill it up to the line where it says maximum, and pressure cook those down for about 50 minutes. And then just leave it to slowly release until the temperature comes down. These, because they were done this morning, we're now mid-afternoon, they've gone nice and cool. I've rinsed them under a bit of cold water and we're ready to go. So ingredients on mine, we're going to remove the olive oil and we're going to substitute that with some zero fat Greek style yogurt. We will still be using fresh lemon. Again, this is a personal choice. I like fresh food. I don't like, you can get bottled lemon if you want to. It's got chemicals in there, so be very careful. That's why I stick with the fresh lemon. I'll be using the tahini because I haven't made up my own sesame seeds for quite a while. The yogurt I'll be putting in, some salt to taste, and garlic. Instead of using raw garlic, this would probably be a large garlic bulb in this one, but if you want to do fresh garlic in your hummus, I would suggest use a smaller version because the garlic can be slightly overpowering. So I'm going to move those to one side. What I've done, you can see in the pan here, what I do, I take 2 garlic cloves. They're usually a good size. I've got 2 jumbo sized garlics, and all I've done is put these in the pan, and all I've done is brown them down. They are in oil, but I'm going to be removing them from the oil when I'm making up the mix. So how do we put all this together? Tools that you will need is any kind of blender. If you've got one of these food processors or blender, and all I do is start putting things in together. But what you don't want to do, guys, and I've done this in the past, I'll be honest, I've burnt out some motors making hummus because I make quite a lot of this. Way that I do mine, I always get the scales out as well so I'm getting the ratio right. I've got a weighed amount of 200 grams of cooked and prepared chickpeas. Gram scales, so we know what we're doing. The yogurt wise, this would normally be oil, so if you're not on a weight loss program, you can always turn this into the oil version if you want. I'm going to just put 100 grams of yogurt in there, which is usually a good 2 spoonfuls of yogurt. That is a nice wet mix in the bottom. Clean that off. Nice. Once the yogurt's in there, tahini. This is really nice. If you haven't got tahini, you can. I've seen some students in one of my places I visited recently. They were making some hummus, run out of tahini, didn't want to go to the local store. Basically, it's a nutty taste. So you can substitute it with a bit of peanut butter if you want to. And all I do in mine is throw 2 really big breakfast spoonfuls of the tahini in. This gives it that lovely nutty taste. And you can see it's lovely and loose. Just clean the spoon off there while we're there. And I always put the wet ingredients in the bottom because it makes it a lot easier to do the blending once you're putting the chickpeas over the top. Because, like I say, what you don't want to do, I'm looking for my cloth now. I'll put my cloth down somewhere. No, I've lost it. There it is. I'll just quickly grab my cloth. As you know, always keep your fingers nice and clean. And then I'm going to put my garlic in there as well, but as you can see, I'm going to strain the oil off of the garlic. That's going to go straight over the top. Try not to get the oil in there, because what I don't want to do is turn this into a fatty recipe. All I want to do is get some of these garlics in there. I'll get them up the side, and then put the last few bits and pieces in there. Like I say, with garlic, guys, you can, if you want it raw taste, you can just put raw garlic in there as well. Now, for seasoning, get your little get your little spoons, and I always put 1 level spoonful, and mine's rock salt because it's a lot richer in the flavour. Once the rock salt's in there, we've got 1 ingredient left. That is going to be the lemon, and because I like to use a fresh lemon, I'll just get the grater and put it straight on the top. Like I say, you can use bottled lemon if you want to. Personally, not a lover of it. And I know what you're thinking, why is he doing everything on top of the scales? I will remove those because they're a little bit wobbly. That's purely to get the weight ratio right on the yogurt at the beginning. And also, if you're going to be using like a standard recipe and you want to put that as olive oil, you can do. So there's 1/2 of the lemon in it. This just gives it a lovely acidity taste. So you can see all the wet ingredients are now in there. All that can sit to one side and get rid of the waste. You can see now everything inside of there is all nice and wet, and then all we do at the end is put the chickpeas in last. So weight wise and quantity wise, you can see in that one we've got, so you know the quantity is 200 grams of chickpeas in there. And once we've got that lot together, this is how hard this can be. Get my little gadget from underneath, put the blender in, hold the top, and then put it on number 1, and we'll turn the volume down just a little bit for this piece. Now, as you can see, a little bit noisy there. You can find as well, if you find, guys, that this is getting, you can see from there, if I take the lid off, you can see on the inside with the overhead camera, there's still a few chickpeas on the top. Now, this is not a problem. If it's not moist enough to keep blending that through, I'm going to keep the lid on while I restart the motor, but take the top off, restart the motor, and then all we're going to do is just add a little bit of water in the top. And that should be enough to start getting that to blend itself through again. As you can see, it's just starting to move. Sometimes you can pulse it as well. Sometimes you do the pulsing, or alternatively, if you have got this problem where for some reason this one is not blending up, just get your spoon in, give it a little bit of helping hand, and then start blending it back again. Now you can see that starting to rotate through nicely. You can see all that lovely blending. And that will be your first batch of the hummus done. So we're going to move some of these toys out of the way. Now, what I do, guys, when I'm at home, if I'm going to use this for myself, I don't usually put it in dishes and serve them up. Normally what I would do, if I've got guests coming round, I'd use a big pot like this. Then I'll get my dish, I'd put the hummus in there, and I'd put all the tortilla chips, scatter around the edges, make it look nice and pretty, and then they got all their dips and everything else. But what I do at home, so that you know as well, remember this yogurt pot that I'm using. We don't always get the huge ones. Doesn't matter where you buy them from. All of these empty containers, what I use, you can see Greek style zero yogurt. We used to buy it from Asda, but these pots are absolutely perfect for putting your hummus on the inside. And then you can just put it into the fridge, and then you're done. It's a very healthy recipe. It doesn't really cost that much money, but before we clean that one up completely, you don't remember at the beginning I said I was going to show you a couple of recipes for that. So you can see there's number 1, that is your bog standard hummus. What I'm going to do on this time round is get the scales out again, and use the same ingredients, but we're going to add some different bits and pieces in. And it doesn't matter which way you do this. You can use tahini first. If I can find where the spoon went, back into the garlic. This one we have 2 spoonfuls of tahini. I have a little bit more on that one. And that will be my tahini. Just dropping it out the top there because a few bits of the garlic went into it. And I don't really like things going into the pot. Nice though, we can always lick the fingers. And then back onto the salt for a little bit more flavour. This just seasons it up a treat. Without the salt, you'll find it doesn't quite taste the same. And then we get another lemon. As you can see, following suit on all of these ingredients. Get the lemon squeezer over the top. Always use the wet ingredients first, and I will remove the scales this time to make it easier to work on. 1 lemon squeezed, or 1/2 of the lemon squeezed. Other half of the lemon squeezed. Move that to the other side. Now we can use the scales, because we're going to go back into our yogurt pot and get 100 grams of yogurt. And we're almost there, 1/2 spoonful. There's the yogurt. And then last but by no means least, the little bit of garlic. If I can find the fresh one. That disappeared somewhere in the other dish. I'll put it in the dish. There it is, one of those. And what I'm going to do on this one, instead of doing a roasted garlic this time, I'm going to do a fresh one, because for this one, I like this one to have a little bit of a garlic kick, but as you can see, because it's a large clove, I'm only going to use 1/2 of the garlic. But the other thing that I'm going to add as an extra ingredient, red capsicum pepper. This one is absolutely delicious because it gives you that lovely sweet taste in the hummus as well. All I've done is taken a whole capsicum pepper, cored it, put it into the oven, roasted it up like this, and you can see all we do is just pop all of that straight into there. That is pretty much the whole lot gone in again, apart from another 200 grams of chickpeas. And because we know last time there wasn't quite enough moisture, I'm going to preempt this one, get myself some fresh water again. It didn't need much, just a splash. We can always come back to it. And if we get the lid back on again, and back out with the motor, and put this back on and blend again. And you can, if you want to as well, another little trick while it's running, very lightly tickle with the spoon. And you can see the colour of this one is a lot redder than the other one. But if it's not quite catching it, don't go too far down, but just a little touch on the sides. But you can see the colour of this one goes that lovely burnt orange colour. Blending up nice. And there is the second one done. So same as we did before, motor out of the way, take another container. So then we've got 2 different types of dips. Straight out of the blender, and we can put straight back into the pot, and we do the rest of the cleaning up a little bit later on as well. So you can see, guys, 2 lovely hummus recipes. We've got the standard hummus there. Normally if you're going to do this, don't do what I did and put the 2 in the same mix, unless you want to do it like I did. Sometimes you can mix the two together and do a marble effect into them together as well, but you can see two beautiful dips. With hummus, guys, the thing that I love about it is so adaptable. You see the pot we've got there, we're doing the garlic. You can use roasted garlic if you like. Another one that I like, you've probably seen it on the shelves in your local supermarket, is a caramelized onion one. Exactly the same, in the oil. Fry the onions down until they look like almost like a golden brown. And then what I do, I usually get the sieve, same sieve that I normally do with the chickpeas on there as well. Sieve the oil away and just leave that to keep dripping away until there's literally no moisture left onto the onions, and then put it in there. Again, it's a really healthy version. These are the lovely hummuses. These are the lovely little tortilla chips that we made last week. Taste wise, the one with that pepper, that is something else. Again, although it's raw garlic, it's not overpowering. It tastes just as much as the roasted one, but you will get that bit of an aftertaste as well, which is lovely and garlicky. And the other one, the standard hummus, guys, if you like nibbles in the evening time, homemade tortilla chips, homemade hummus, go to your local shops, buy some of these chickpeas. If you don't want to go down and do all the cooking, the pressure cooking and waiting the whole time as well, you can just go to your local supermarket or buy a tin of pre-cooked chickpeas. The only thing I'll say is rinse them down. Another thing you can do if you want the protein content to go even higher, you don't have to use chickpeas. Time-wise, sometimes I do it with green lentils. As you know, I'm a lentil lover. Red lentils, brown lentils, green as well. The green ones do make a lovely hummus. 200 grams again, once you've cooked them up, 200 grams of that mix instead of the chickpeas. They cook a lot quicker, about 15-20 minutes on the stove instead of 50 minutes in a pressure cooker for your chickpeas. Nice and fresh, very, very tasty. Guys, hopefully you've enjoyed the recipe. I've enjoyed making it again. I'm going to even enjoy even more having a few more of these nibbles. And then guys, instead of having chocolate bars and your crisps, this is healthier, helps you lose the weight, keeps you on top of the world. Have a great day, guys. Catch you on the next video. If you like what you've seen, you know where that subscribe button is. All the ingredients I will drop down underneath as well. Have yourselves a great week, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Take care. Bye bye now.